Blueface allegedly gave chlamydia to his own son at birth. Let that sink in for a second. If you thought the Blueface, Jaidyn Alexis, and Chrisean Rock situation couldn't get any messier, buckle up because it just did.
Okay, so Blueface's chat was asking, like, how often do they get tested? What's going on? Because Blueface deals with a lot of women and Nevaeh is actively pregnant. Now, he just responded and said, look, she get tested. When she go on her checkup, she get tested, and as long as she good, I know I'm good. And that scares me. That scares me for the baby, that scares me for Nevaeh, that scares me for everyone.
We're not talking about cheating allegations or leaked DMs this time. We're talking about STDs, a newborn baby, and a sister who went scorched earth on Instagram Live. This story has layers, and every single one of them is worse than the last. Let's start with what's been floating around lately, because the accusations hitting Blueface right now are serious. Word spreading through the streets is that Blueface has been knowingly carrying multiple STIs and STDs and allegedly used them as a weapon. Not a metaphorical weapon, a literal one. The claim is that he passed infections to both Jaidyn Alexis and Chrisean Rock as a form of revenge after they each walked away from him. That's not heartbreak behavior, that's something else entirely.
Out of here. How a nigga eat my ass and then go okay.
Yeah, and you said you had chlamydia? Your mother instinct didn't kick in. It's some good such.
When's the last time you been to the doctor? Y'all do know I go to the doctor, right? This man don't have nothing.
Yeah, she goes to the doctor for both of us. Like when she go in and she come back and say it's clear, that means I'm good.
And keep in mind, this is the same man who, right after getting locked up, turned around and leaked explicit videos of Jaidyn and Blueface affiliate Bravo the Bag Chaser just to punish her for moving on while he was behind bars. So the idea that he would use his own health as ammunition, it honestly tracks with everything we've seen from him. Now, Jaidyn's situation has been getting attention on its own. She was recently spotted with what a lot of people online are describing as visible herpes symptoms, and the internet immediately started pointing fingers at Blueface. Nothing has been confirmed medically, but the timing and the pattern of behavior have people connecting those dots fast. But here's where it gets truly hard to stomach, because Chrisean's story involves her baby. And that's where this whole thing shifts from messy to genuinely disturbing. Even before all the recent chaos, people were already raising eyebrows at Chrisean. Her own sister, Tina, came forward and dropped allegations that Chrisean infected her newborn son, Chrisean Jr., with chlamydia during childbirth. Now, you're probably wondering what would push a sister to go public with something that heavy. Here's what reportedly happened. Chrisean refused to pay Tina for babysitting Jr. Instead of letting it go, Tina held the baby at her house until she got paid.
Yeah.
She gave birth through the canal.
She's seen...
Wow. We're throwing
Wait, you think she had one since birth?
No. When she gave birth.
Oh, really?
When police showed up and took the child back, Tina went straight to Instagram Live and she did not hold back. She said that when Chrisean went into labor, she was in the middle of an active chlamydia flare-up in the vaginal area. Her doctors reportedly told her point blank that a natural birth would put the baby at risk of infection, and they strongly recommended a C-section to keep Junior safe. Chrisean refused the C-section. She reportedly didn't want to deal with the recovery or the scar or damage to a tattoo she had in that area. And because she made that choice, Junior was delivered through an infected birth canal. And Tina says that's exactly how he ended up with chlamydia. There's a clip circulating right now where Tina is going in on Chrisean directly, and the words hit like a freight train. She's asking why Chrisean's maternal instincts didn't take over the moment doctors warned her. She's asking how a mother hears the word chlamydia from a medical team, hears that her baby is at risk, and still decides to go the route that puts him in danger. She said she was in that delivery room. She watched it happen. The nurses came in, they tried to talk to Chrisean, offered her time to process and make a plan, and Chrisean essentially told them to keep it moving. The quote Tina threw out was raw. She said something along the lines of, "You sent him through that infected canal. You did that." And honestly, there's no clever spin to put on that. If what Tina is saying is true, a baby suffered the consequences of a decision his mother made with full information in front of her. Now look, we don't have medical records. We're not in that hospital room. But the details Tina is putting out there are specific, and they line up with a larger pattern of recklessness that has followed this entire situation from the jump. Whether it's leaked videos, alleged STD distribution as revenge, or a newborn catching an infection at birth, there is a through line here, and it all keeps connecting back to the same names. This story is still developing, and there's clearly more to come. She didn't hold back, not even a little. "Leave me alone," she said, plain and direct. "I keep asking you, leave me alone." But the other side wasn't listening, and that's when things got real. The children became the flashpoint. She made that crystal clear. The kids are off limits, full stop. "You want to play with my children now?" she said, the frustration sharp in every word. "You're playing with my children." And when talk started circling around her grandchild, she drew a hard line right there on the spot. Here's what stands out though. She made a point to say that the grandchild, the one she called Chrisean, would not be dragged into this mess. "We will never talk about Chrisean because he's special, and we really love him." That exemption wasn't weakness. That was a mother and grandmother protecting someone she loves from a fire she didn't start. But everything surrounding that child, she called it foul. She called it disgusting. And she repeated herself on purpose because she wanted the message to stick. This is a no-go zone, not a suggestion, not a preference. A no-go zone, and everyone around her already knew that. Now here's where it gets serious. A CPS meeting. She confirmed it herself and didn't flinch, explaining why.
And I said, this is what I said. I said, well, I came back clean, so I don't know the circumstances. So I don't know. I don't know her problem. I'm sorry to her.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
"I have to clear my name," she said. "I have to clear my position. Nobody calls a meeting with Child Protective Services for fun. When you're sitting across the table from CPS, the stakes are as high as they get." And she walked into that room on her own terms to make sure her name came out clean. She laid the blame squarely at the other person's feet. Lies, fake stories, manipulation. She said she sees exactly what's happening, and she wasn't confused by any of it. You let your little emotions and the joy rewire your little brain, and you did what you did. That line hit different because it wasn't just anger, it was disappointment. The kind that comes from watching someone you know do something you never expected. And then came the threat against her daughters. That's where the temperature spiked. She named it directly, said her daughters had been threatened, and she put whoever was responsible on notice. "Who coming to see her today? Pull up." That's not a bluff. That's a woman who's done being patient. The police visit came up next, and she explained that too. They showed up at 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning. She asked a question that anyone would ask. Why would I answer the door? She wasn't hiding. She wasn't running. She was sitting right there on her couch, and she chose not to open that door, and she'd make the same choice again. She kept circling back to the idea of karma because she genuinely believes what you put out comes back. You keep putting negativity out here, negativity going to chase you down. It wasn't a threat so much as a warning grounded in how she sees the world. She's been around long enough to watch that pattern play out. And she wanted the other side to understand. Actions carry weight, and reactions follow every single one of them. And then she closed with something that lingered. She said she could really do you dirty, but she's choosing not to, at least for now. "I'ma keep my little stuff in the tuck." That line alone said more than a full explanation ever could. She's holding cards. She knows it. The other side knows it. And she's making the deliberate choice to keep them face down on the table for now. That kind of restraint, when someone is clearly capable of going further and chooses not to, that's a statement all on its own. Jaidyn probably thought she was holding the moral high ground when she came out swinging at Croc. But here's where the story takes a sharp and uncomfortable turn. In an interview, Jaidyn seemed to back up everything Tareen had been saying. She claimed she'd heard that Croc had a serious STD infection right around the time she gave birth and that she allegedly caught it from sleeping with Blueface while she was pregnant. The conversation got specific and fast. Jaidyn made it clear she wasn't talking about something that happened later. She was talking about the moment of delivery itself, right when that baby came through the birth canal. And for anyone who heard that and thought, okay, but how bad could it really be? The answer is pretty bad. This isn't a minor detail getting blown out of proportion. The infection people are pointing to, chlamydia, can have devastating consequences for a newborn if a mother is untreated at the time of delivery. According to medical reports, when a baby passes through an infected birth canal, the infection can transfer directly to the child. One of the most serious risks is to the baby's eyes, and in some cases that can mean lasting vision damage if it's not caught and treated quickly. That context makes the next part of this story even more alarming. Allegedly, Croc's doctor was already aware of the risk and specifically recommended she have a C-section to protect the baby during delivery. She refused. Now, nobody outside that hospital room knows everything that was said or decided in that moment, and it's worth keeping the word allegedly front and center here. But if those reports are accurate, that's a decision that could have had consequences far beyond whatever drama was playing out between adults on social media.
When's the last time you been to the doctor? Y'all do know I go to the doctor, right? This man don't have nothing.
Yeah, she goes to the doctor for both of us. Like when she go in and she come back and say it's clear, that means I'm good.
Ooh.
I don't even gotta go get checked up. Maybe set up.
Here's where the story flips completely. Jaidyn spent considerable energy dragging Croc through the mud over these exact same issues and then turned around and got intimate with Blueface herself. And it did not go the way she probably planned. Shortly after, a photo of Blueface went viral showing what looked like bumps around his lips consistent with a herpes flare-up. People immediately started connecting dots. Then, within days, a photo of Jaidyn surfaced, showing those same kinds of bumps in the same area. The internet did not let that slide quietly. What made it even messier is that this wasn't the first time Blueface had been photographed with those bumps. It had come up before, and at the time, he brushed it off completely, telling people it was a keloid, not an STD, just a skin thing. Most people weren't buying it then, and they definitely weren't buying it now with the second round of photos circulating and a second woman's face in the conversation. But none of that stopped him from moving on to his next relationship. At the time all of this was unfolding, Blueface had a new girlfriend named NVA, and she was pregnant. When she saw what was being said online, she did exactly what any reasonable person would do and asked him to get tested. He said no, let that land for a second. His pregnant girlfriend asked him to get a basic health check while allegations were flying all over the internet, and he flat out refused. It got worse from there. NVA said she received a direct message from one of Blueface's other women warning her to get tested. The person reaching out claimed that Blueface had infected them with an STD and that they were genuinely concerned about NVA and her unborn child potentially being exposed. That's not a random troll sending messages. That's someone feeling desperate enough to go directly to the pregnant girlfriend and say, please take care of yourself. Blueface's response to all of this was something else entirely. Rather than address the concern with any real seriousness, he essentially outsourced his health status to NVA. His logic, delivered casually on camera, went something like this. NVA goes to the doctor, she comes back clean, so that means he's clean too. He doesn't need to go himself because her results cover both of them. He literally said, when she go in and she come back and say it's clear, that means I'm good. I don't even got to go get checked up. That's not how any of this works. That's not how testing works. That's not how transmission works. And it's definitely not how responsibility works when there's a pregnant woman and an unborn child in the picture. The chat on his live was asking pointed questions about how often they actually get tested, and the answers coming back weren't exactly reassuring. NVA tried to defend him, saying she goes to the doctor for both of them, as if shared visits make individual exposure somehow irrelevant. The whole thing is a layered, ongoing mess, and the people closest to it don't seem to be treating it with anywhere near the seriousness it deserves. Here's the thing that stopped a lot of people cold. Blueface is out here dealing with multiple women at the same time, and Nivea is actively carrying his child. So when he finally responded to the STD concerns floating around online, what did he say? He said, she get tested when she go on her checkup. She get tested, and as long as she good, I know I'm good.
I listen to you.
You got the lubricant?
I'm the f***ing lubricant, baby. You know this motherfucker Wi-Fi.
What if I want to go in the butt box?
Hey, you with it, huh?
Is it kind of weird that the first day out of prison, Blueface is suggesting some type of butt action to his woman? Or do you guys think that this is just normal behavior for them and that is what he was doing before he went to prison?
Read that back slowly. He's using his pregnant girlfriend's routine prenatal checkups as his own personal STD detection system. That's not a health plan. That's a disaster waiting to happen, and it puts Nivea at risk, it puts the baby at risk, and it puts every single woman he's been with at risk. But the conversation didn't stop there because Blue himself gave people more to talk about. He posted a clip of himself holding a salad plate, and within minutes, people were zooming in on his fingers. The comments were full of people pointing out what looked like STD-related spots on his skin. Now, the obvious explanation is exactly what you'd expect given everything we already know about his lifestyle and how many women he's been linked to. But here's where it gets more complicated. A growing number of people online aren't just stopping at that conclusion. They're raising the question of whether some of those infections might have come from unprotected encounters with men. And before you dismiss that as just rumor, consider the fact that Blue himself has done almost nothing to actually shut those allegations down. If anything, the things he's been saying and doing seem to suggest that the down-low rumors might carry some weight. Take what happened on a live stream with Chrisean. He straight up asked her if he could use what he called her back hole instead of her regular anatomy. And then, as if that wasn't enough, he went live again shortly after and doubled down, saying he actually prefers that over traditional intimacy because, in his words, women's natural biology during intimacy grosses him out. Now that live stream moment where he's asking for the lubricant, suggesting that specific act on the first day out of prison, that raised more than a few eyebrows. Was that just their normal dynamic before he went in? Or is that something worth paying closer attention to? A lot of people were asking exactly that. Then there's the Chrisean tweet exchange that some of you might remember. This all started when Chrisean and Blue were going back and forth publicly over allegations that she'd been with Offset. Blue came out swinging. He posted, "Being tatted on a girl is not a flex. You literally slept with Cardi B's husband a couple of weeks ago. I'm tired of men looking at me while they sleep with you." That was his shot at her. But she didn't let it slide. She fired back with something that landed way harder. She tweeted, "Let's talk about how I saw gay corn in your recent search history. That's why I honestly got the cover up, bro. I had a zesty man on my neck. Nothing wrong with being bisexual. Just let a girl know before she falls in love, weirdo." Let that sink in for a second. She's not attacking him for being bisexual. She's calling him out for hiding it. There's a real difference there, and it says a lot about how she felt going into that relationship without the full picture. And then, on top of all of that, there was the Chrisean Rock stream moment that a lot of people slept on at the time but are now circling back to. Blue was on the stream with Chrisean and casually admitted to sleeping with a little person, just dropped it in conversation like it was nothing. Now here's the part people latched onto. Chrisean's immediate reaction wasn't to assume it was a woman, which would be the natural assumption if your partner is supposed to be exclusively straight. Her very first question was whether the little person was a man or a woman. Why is that where her mind went first? What has she seen, heard, or experienced in that relationship that made that her automatic response? That reaction says more than any tweet could. Taken on its own, any one of these moments might not mean much, but stacked together, the live stream preferences, the tweet about his search history, Chrisean's instinctive question on that stream, it starts to paint a picture that Blue hasn't made much of an effort to correct. Whether people draw conclusions from that is up to them, but the pattern is hard to ignore. People were genuinely shaken by that question. The comment section lit up fast, with fans asking why Blue's mind even went there in the first place. If you had nothing to hide, why would that be your first instinct? That detail alone had people doing double takes. And honestly, the Cole Carrion situation only made things louder. For anyone who doesn't know the name, Cole is a well-known drag queen who came out publicly claiming that Blue had slid into his DMs trying to set something up. Not a rumor passed through the grapevine either. Cole said he had receipts, alleged screenshots of the messages, and what he described as video evidence to back up every word. Now, whether you believe Cole or not is a whole separate conversation. But here's the thing. Once somebody starts posting alleged screenshots and claiming they have video proof, the internet doesn't just move on. People dig in. The rumors that were already floating around suddenly had something to attach themselves to. And that changes the entire energy of the story. Blue came out and denied all of it, like most people in his position would. His response was something along the lines of, "I'm not suing nobody for defamation. If y'all believe that, that's on you. This stuff is all entertainment for me. Literally every time I open these apps, I separate my reality from this virtual world where everyone is pretending and lying for likes and approvals. I am the truth." That's a bold statement to make when multiple people are pointing fingers in your direction at the same time. But here's where it stops being Twitter drama and starts being something more serious. If it's true that Blue knew he wasn't clean and still put people at risk without telling them, that's not messy behavior. That's a legal issue. Jaidyn and Crotch would have every right to step away from social media entirely and take that straight to a courtroom. Period. No amount of clout or viral moments is worth protecting someone who allegedly endangered your health. The comment section, as you'd expect, had no chill about any of this. One person wrote, "That means all them got it because of Blueface." Another chimed in saying, "Well, if Crone got it from Blueface, then Jaidyn got it too. They all need to stay off social media telling their business." Both takes were flying around at the same time, pulling in completely opposite directions. And that tension right there is exactly what makes this story so layered. On one side, people are calling out Blue for what they believe he did. On the other side, some folks think everyone involved needs to stop airing private medical business online. Full stop. Both arguments have weight, and this conversation clearly isn't over. So here's what I want to know from you. What do you actually think about Jaidyn and Crotch going public with these allegations? Do you believe they genuinely got their alleged infections from dealing with Blue? Or does something about this whole situation feel off to you? Drop your honest take in the comments below, because this community doesn't hold back, and I want to hear every angle on it. If you're new here, subscribe for the stories behind the hip-hop headlines that most people only get half of. There's always more to unpack, and we're just getting started. See you in the next one.